40 chess. Yeah. 40 chess. 40 chess. Let's get it.
Yo, is that T-Dog?
40 chess. 40 chess. Hey. 40 chess. This a trade show. Patreon where the trades go. Tap in and watch. That's what you came for. Ain't gotta say my name. They know my name, bro.
What's good, man?
We got McNutted in ATM. Always start off the show with a trade from them. You should always make sure that your trade is in. Patreon, why not be a Patreon? Know you wish you could spend every day with them. Tap in and say what you gon' say with them. South Harmon can fill up a stadium. Next time you log in, make sure that you bring a friend. We about to kick off, let the day begin. Go follow the socials. 40 Chess FF is posted. If your trade is an F, you get roasted. Go like and subscribe for the crew. Apple, Spotify, and the YouTube. You know Cooper got the warp too. Let us give you a walkthrough. 40 Chess. This is 40 Chess.
Oh yeah, live and in living color on a Saturday night.
Bang.
What's good, Adam? How you doing, man?
What's
Why
going
you
on,
always look
buddy?
like a giant next to me?
I know. It's because I kind of lean into my shit. You're all like lean back. See, I could do that, but I'm anticipating. You know, we're ready for your trade.
You're right up there.
Yeah, I'm way
hugging
up
that thing.
I'm up in the sheesh. What's going on with you though, buddy?
Get it, man. Day drinking all day.
Oh, this will be great. This could be.
Yeah,
No wonder
we
you're
fucked
leaned
up.
back. No wonder he's leaned back like that. Now I know why I'm all leaned in. He's leaned out. Speaking of which, if you want to lean into being a part of the trade show, patreon.com/South Harmon, Mike.
almost like
$5
it's
get you
right
in the door, you know?
Down there.
Down there.
Hey, look at that.
Speaking of which, let's quickly acknowledge, you can't see all of it because it's not quite zoomed out enough, but Mike, signed shit, buddy. Basically redecorated your entire basement and looks pretty sick.
We up there. They account for a lot of it. Mystery Boxes and I have done very well together. We're a good match. So
Match made in
If
heaven,
you-
buddy.
if you want to get your own chance at your own, open up your own mystery box, go under signedshit.it and use promo code Harmon15 at checkout. 15% off. Get yourself in there, and you may just walk home with a lucky, signed, authentic, full size. This thing could be a weapon. Helmet.
Could
Never
be
gonna
a
use it as a
weapon, using that helmet as a weapon. So make sure you're checking out Signed Shit. It wouldn't be a trade show without at least Dynasty Alex's presence, and when it's live, Mike, and he's all for it. Good.
Let's go.
Glad to hear it, man. Glad to hear that you're here today. Let's go ahead and start with Mike, by the way. Mike got a deal done. This is like the deal we've been trying to get done as collectively for 3 weeks. So
So we can make our own.
long anticipated, highly awaited. Let's see if it lives up to what we're hoping for here, man. So let's talk about it. All right. We got
I'm here for the people.
Are you? Okay. Elite Fantasy Nation, right? So we got a 12-team Superflex PPR, half-point tight end premium, best ball start 10. So best ball starting 10, it's a little less starters than we typically play in for most of the South Harmon leagues, but it's still in best ball, man. Start 10. You better have a lot of bodies, and I see that you're getting some. So let's talk about this trade. You're getting Anthony Richardson, Zamir White, and Hunter Henry are the pieces acquired for Patrick Mahomes. Walk the people through it.
This is just a heart trade, man. We're desperate. Sending away Patrick Mahomes, which I now see that dude's up at Keep Trade Cut QB1. Back again, Adam. You know how much I'm in on A-Rich, man. I want as much A-Rich on my team. And in best ball, he's close enough to Patrick Mahomes. For me, personally, maybe not for everybody, but for me, personally, he's close enough, my projections for this upcoming year, that, Adam, I'm taking the extra 2 pieces and just running away. Now, there's a lot of things with this team I got to kind of fix, get a little bit more right. It's not the greatest team. It did win 2 years ago right out of the startup. Last year, it looked like I was about to miss the playoffs, so, sell off some older pieces, get some draft capital, added a lot of young guys to the team, which probably ain't the greatest for 2024 success right out the gates, but it's a work in progress. We'll see if we can't, instead of rebuild, Adam, we tried to retool. And
I like that,
continuing
retool,
that now.
you know? I like that.
Yeah, retooling by trying to get a few more pieces in here. So a lot of the offers I sent out that were very similar, instant rejects, no counters whatsoever. So anytime one gets accepted with no counter, no dialogue back and forth, you go, fuck.
I might have been able to get a tiny bit more, right?
Yeah. But it is what it is. It's how you do how you get deals done. And we were hurting, Adam. We were hurting for deals. So
Really were. I'm still.
putting the pedal to the metal.
I had 2 deals where I'm like close, and maybe because I didn't quite have it where, like you said here, this one they instant accept, and you're like, damn, I should have asked for that extra piece or went higher on one player. Let me ask you now, with after this trade, the acquisition of Rich Henry and Zamir White, do you kind of view it like those guys are just going to be a part of your best ball depth, or is this kind of a move that's trying to keep rolling? You're trying to roll the ball into another trade from some of these assets here.
I think those 2 guys specifically, just until they do something right, nobody really likes Hunter Henry and Zamir White. We have a lot of questions about. I think he's kind of he's maintained a nice position where even I, as the skeptical Zamir White guy a few months back, have gone like, all right, like Dylan Lobby and Alexander Madison, and those guys don't really scare me. So apparently this guy's going to get the bulk of the work unless they sign somebody like a Leonard Fournette or some shit before training camp or during training camp. So he's kind of looking up, but where his value is now, where Hunter Henry's value is right now, yeah. I don't think the future plans are to move those guys because they're not the most attractive pieces. It's going to be done through other pieces on the team.
Makes sense. I think Hunter Henry especially, like, there's nothing he's going to be able to do, Mike, that's going to get him a big boost in dynasty value. So that one especially. I think Zamir White, I think what you just said in a roundabout way for me is how I view it too. I'm concerned, Mike, that throughout the whole season that he either is going to be able to take that type of workload for the whole year, or is he not doing well enough throughout the year? Like, we've seen basically a guy like him in a small sample size do well. I'm not necessarily worried about the bodies around him like Madison or Labe. I just don't know if throughout the entire season he'll keep the job. So for me, I think you're probably on the right track. I would be looking at if he has another, 2-3 weeks early in the season, somewhere within the first, 6-8 weeks. Like, if there's any type of value there, maybe try to see if I could pivot out of it. But right. Either way, when you look at your team and a best ball start 10, I think that the majority of people looking at this trade are probably thinking, like, I'd rather just have Mahomes. But I know the way that you probably dynasty and the way that I dynasty in a best ball league like this. Even if it's not necessarily these 2 pieces get moved, we're going to be continuing to make depth moves, and the bench is going to be a big part of the reason why this type of a trade can work out for you.
This isn't a move. Let's just say the context of it. If my team wasn't, I mean, it's not the greatest, Adam. It is right now. If you just look on the lab, it's kind of middle of the road, but it is
right.
like my type of best ball team where there's some dudes on the bench where you're like, okay, at least they're usable in best ball. A lot of the other guys, it's like projections. I got some rookies on the team, so that's not the greatest. But I do still have my own pick. I got all my picks, and I have an extra.
You got another
first.
25. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
that I think is big.
One hanging around. So if I didn't, let's just say if I didn't have my first, I'm not selling Patrick Mahomes for as cheap, right? Because the downside is so much more. But if this backfires and A-Rich gets hurt or whatever it is, I'm like, okay, well, fuck, that didn't work. We still got my pick. But if it works out, let's say Hunter Henry, starts doing something for me. Zamir White elevates from his current dynasty value and really putting up numbers, maybe back-end RB1 numbers, high-end RB2 numbers on a consistent basis, a nice usable piece for me. I still got 2 first and the rest of my assortment of draft picks to kind of figure out if I want to push the pedal a little bit more and push things in. And that's all saying that I don't get anything else done between now and the start of the season, which is still a few months away. So, maybe I come off of some of my youth pieces. Maybe somebody decides in August when they return, from their hiatus, which it seems like everybody's on, that, oh shit, my team's junk. those rookie quarterbacks you got, all right, I'll take them off your hands for a veteran or something along those lines. So we'll kind of see how it plays out.
I think you made a great point to end it too. Like in August, I feel like in most of my leagues, you'll start to see the activity kick back up. Like those basically preseason trades, everyone gets hyped up for the season. It's back, you know. Right now, it feels like people are just either tapped out or they're just tired of making deals on no real information changes, right? So that I think is what's coming.
It's tough to get one done at this time of the year. It really is.
July is like the desert, man. You know, you're out there and it's dry in these leagues, bro. It is dry as hell in these damn
dry
leagues.
As a bone, man. Dry as a bone.
So let's pivot on. Let's keep going. Let us know in the comments, live or after the fact, what you think of Mike's trade. If you want it or don't want it. I know what this league says is they don't want melon butt, Mike. 12-team Superflex tiered PPR plus points per carry. I don't know exactly how much it is, but we got points per carry involved. Best ball start 12, so this is same type of lane, right? We want you want as many bodies as possible. Now, Kryptonaut is getting Pittman down, so the pairing of those two, and a 25 first from the team trading away those players. Russ D30. But it's costing Breece Hall and Christian Watson. Mike, I'm curious. I'm going to pull up in the lab and maybe pull up Warp 2 here. Kind of curious just on the surface when we start this one, your thoughts on the trade.
It's tough, right? Because the first coming into it could mean anything. But if you just treat it as generically, I think it's even-ish. It's even-ish.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I might still actually favor the Breece Hall and Christian Watson side. Now, I know Christian Watson hasn't been the sexiest, but the way I break it down is Breece Hall over Pittman by a fair bit, and I'm a Michael Pittman guy. Like, there's no way in hell I ever do that straight up. Ever.
100%.
And then Christian Watson over Josh Downs by a fair bit for me. Even with Christian Watson having his injury issues, I mean, we just had an A-Rich trade. I mean, how many weapons is a running quarterback like A-Rich going to actually support in the passing game? Like, I kind of like Downs for Scott Fishbowl, for fuck's sake, but that's because I'm like, oh, shit, I didn't realize he also returned some kicks, you know.
Sure.
And some return yards, too, to add on to it. So,
Yep.
I don't know, just straight up in Dynasty, I'll take Christian Watson over Josh Downs. I don't know if that's right or wrong. The first coming into play is like, does that make up for the rest of it, which kind of makes it fair-ish. But I might lean the Breece side with no context. Now, we'll find out. Context does change it. Into it, ain't we?
Context does change it for sure. I'll say here's when you look at it from a generic lens, Mike. I'm kind of with you. It's close enough. I think I lean actually just on a generic lens the Breece Hall side of this deal because I view him in his own tier, and then I think Watson, to your point, like there's probably even if the guy look at last season. He wasn't necessarily the most usable week in and week out, but in best ball, that's the type of receiver that's actually really nice to have, right? Because let's even say he's extremely sporadic, but he gives you 3 or 4 of those weeks where it's like, boom, not only is he in your lineup, he might be wide receiver 1. So now here's what I'll say about the trade. When you look at the context, right, you have one team that's an absolute juggernaut. Russ D, based on the lab, is currently second, but kind of in the mix of teams with A-Shot 324 right on the heels. P. Ruskin, Koopa's right there. Basically 122 to 115 in overall redraft total, right? And when you go to the bench, like let me just start with the bench players. Now there's a lot of quarterbacks that are decent here. So Daniel Jones, Gardner Minshew, Aiden O'Connell, don't mind that. But then Sam Darnold, Drew Lock, a lot of quarterbacks. You don't want to necessarily roster that many non-playing quarterbacks. But then Madison, Sermon, Carter, Jamari Thrash, Juju. There is Kendrick Bourne. We'll see what he is off the injury. But like a lot of players on this team in the bench where it's like, start 12. Not the greatest. So go ahead and give me the shot on that first. And then when I look at Kryptonaut, Mike, this is a team that's currently after this trade dead last in redraft total. So this trade is a combination of trying to help you get the points of Breece Hall off your roster, closer to that early pick, locking that in, but also getting off the risk. Like, listen, we've seen Breece Hall be absolutely electric, and I love him and I would like to have him on damn near all my teams. But if I'm trying to get to the bottom actively, I don't want to necessarily carry the risk of if he gets hurt, and then I got to try to figure out what to do with him then, as well as, like, I don't want him going out there. You saw last year, this dude, I mean, even in a format like this, might fuck around and win you a couple weeks. So I like this trade for Kryptonaut, given that context. I still think it makes sense for Russ D, but I probably would have liked to either before this trade or at some point, like, I need to address my depth pretty bad.
Yeah, if this was a lineup league, you know, like coming out of it, I get it because the team is good enough, and Breece Hall in this point per carry format, the warp on him is like stupid good, really stupid good. Being that the context is actually best ball and a start 12, like you said, and when I look at his bench, shit, I mean, as soon as you go down and you start looking at starting rosters in a best ball and Roman Wilson's making an appearance, right? You're going, oh, fuck. Not what I have, like not like the next best guy I want to be as my worst flex option. It tells me the bench is kind of lacking. So I'm kind of good with the context. I like the move from Kryptonaut. Just, hey, I'm going to bet against this guy right now. It doesn't look the greatest, and if you think Breece Hall is going to be the one to carry you in a best ball league, start 12, best of luck to you, man. I know how best ball works, and you're probably inevitably going to fail at this. It just happens. It's almost a guarantee at this point, Adam. It really is. When best ball rosters are constructed like lineup rosters with incredible amounts in the starting positions, but no real depth to speak of, you're fucked. You're fucked. Not saying that Russ couldn't turn it around, right? Maybe down tiers Breece Hall into something else and down tiers of Nico Collins or something like that he has on his roster. Like, you can get some depth, but you just send away your first on a bet already. Not something I want to do in July with this type of best ball roster.
Yeah, like the one thing I'm seeing, and this is where I think every market in best ball is kind of interesting. Like if you and I are in most best ball leagues, I think the type of moves we'll make is to bake a lot of depth, which then kind of changes the dynamic of contenders, and teams kind of have to match that. Some of these best ball leagues I've seen where I look on paper and it's like, man, there really isn't any of the teams that have a ton of depth. So you might, in that type of a league, I don't know if this was a brand new startup or not, maybe get a little away with it a little more. But you just don't have any room for error, man. When I look at this team, you just really don't have a lot of room for error. So I think the prudent move for Russ now would be to, on a few of these players that carry a lot of dynasty value, see what you can do in down tiering before you, like, kind of getting ahead of the potential, injury or two that could collapse your team. But I would say, based on all the context, I would prefer the Kryptonaut side. But I get what Rusty is trying to do.
A good example is that when you look on the lab, go click on Koopa's team. Now, Koopa's got 2 picks. So I'm assuming this is fresh off a startup. This feels like a league with how close everything is and where the picks are.
It definitely feels like a new league, yeah.
Feels like it started up this offseason. But I go look at Koopa's team and, like, some of the stuff chilling on his bench in a best ball league, James Conner, Brian Robinson, Stephon Diggs, Jacoby Myers, Pop Douglas, Darnell Mooney for whatever he's worth.
Yep.
Like, I much rather have the Koopa Troopa type best ball roster construction with those extra picks, because even if he is lacking a third quarterback, it's like, okay, he's got the ammunition to possibly go get one if his team performs well. And I really don't want to be built more like what Russ is. So if I'm Kryptonaut and I know that, fuck, everybody out here, Koopa's in here, I kind of like his roster, everybody's real close at the top. Fuck it, baby. Let's race to the bottom. You have Breece. I'll take your pick. Bet against you. Give me 2 receivers. I know I got to send away a Christian Watson, but it's just kind of a push to get the deal done. Fuck it. Let's roll.
Yeah, I'm with you. I couldn't really agree much more, which means we need to fucking turn the page.
Next
to. All right, Mike. This went down in shit too. And as soon as I saw this trade go down, I'm like, all right, like this right here is if this is not trade show worthy, I don't know what is. And Mike, you look at that. I actually don't think I've ever seen this personally. I think this is the first time where I'm looking at 2 managers with first and second round picks that they own from different managers, right? So they're basically trading with each other. They're having a bet right now, like which one of these teams they would prefer to bet against. And they're like, you know what? Nah, I want to bet against the Mike's side that you have. And Koopa's like, yeah, I think you can have Mike's fucking picks. I want to bet against the Polly Wall side. And I think from a lot of different standpoints we can talk about it. I'm sure people might have saw that comment and be like, what? How is this trade show worthy? I think it is because I'm kind of curious to see why a trade like this would go down and how it happens when we take a look at the lab. Really intriguing to me. I've never seen something like this before.
The trade itself isn't breaking, right? Like on the surface, you go, who gives a shit? The context behind this whole fucking league is what makes it entertaining for you, Adam.
Yep.
It makes it entertaining for me. So, Big Corey wants to compete, finally, get in the mix. And I have a team that has been number one for the last, couple of years? 2 years this league's been in here?
Yeah, you won.
I mean, this league's been
the last 2 years,
before.
you've won 1 year and got second in the other. So, it's
exactly.
Right.
But I leveraged all my picks to do it, right? So I have an older team that has won, and here we are. Like, it didn't really change from year to year. Maybe got a little bit worse as people age out or get injured or move teams, that kind of thing. So Big Corey now had the assets to, like, okay, so me and him have made a deal where he went more towards the competing side. I went towards the more retooling side. And I'm kind of in this middle range where it's like, listen, I'm playing with y'all's money anyways. Like, this shit's free. So I think Corey here is trying to leverage the fact that he thinks he can get a deal done for me from some good contending pieces if he can offer my picks back to me. So he trades with Koopa. Koopa is 4D chessing this fucking thing and going, listen, if you try to strong-arm fucking Mike, I know how Mike is. He's going to tell you to fuck off. You can have his picks, and he's going to do everything in his power just to sell his fucking soul to make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, he'll be
just
a playoff.
Just to spite your ass.
Playoff team for 2 years so you can watch them picks, be traded for late or hold.
Don't get shit.
Right.
So I love the battle of wills between the two. And of course Corey comes to me after the trade and says, hey, I got your picks. Can we make a deal? So I sent him an offer for him, and he's like, oh no, I might just hold or whatever the fuck it is. It's like, well, good luck to you. Like, not gonna lie, Corey, I got more fucking resolve than you do. I got 50 leagues. I don't give a fuck about this one. I really don't. It's just one on the map, buddy. I'll fucking compete just to spite the shit out of you. Koopa was right with this one.
Well, what's actually really interesting too, what up, Fizzle, is Mike, he's also got your 26 first. So he's got your 26 first, 26 second now. And the dynamic is obviously what he's trying to do. Now, Big Corey's team also is one of these that was kind of playing the middle a little more on the rebuild side, and now is pretty decently well built, made some trades. So he's looking to contend and build his team up. What's interesting to me, though, is like Paulie Wall's team is, according to the lab anyway, just as probably not actually as good as your team currently on paper is. But I think that the idea for Big Corey is, instead of betting against Paulie Wall and pretend I think there's a realistic scenario where Paulie Wall doesn't make the playoffs. He makes 105, 104 type pick, which in this class coming up, pretty nice. Instead, it's like, okay, what if Mike actually? I have seen Mike get into the semis at minimum with teams that are worse built than this one is currently. So I guess what'll be interesting to see is what Big Corey, how he plays it. If you don't move on, if you don't make a move for these picks, if you guys don't get a deal done there, right? I guess what he ends up doing with your 25 first later on I'll be very interested to see how that goes and what Koopa turns this into with Paulie's picks, because I just have a strong feeling, Mike, if you guys don't make a deal midway through the season, Big Corey, while trying to contend, isn't going to let, especially if you're trying to contend now, isn't going to let this 25 first become a pick he drafts with. That's that I think is what the ticking clock will be most interesting for me. But I feel like I did this
thing about this.
Yeah.
The 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon here, Adam, is the fact I own Corey's first round pick next year too.
Right.
So we're all sitting here just in each other's fucking kitchens, just being assholes. And the worst one I feel for is Paulie Wall, because he's out here catching strays when this trade goes through. Like, what? Fuck me. Koopa out here betting against my team more than Mike's? Fuck you. It's great.
I love it. I love every piece of this. I'm curious to see what ends up happening with this, but again, I've never seen somebody owning a pair of picks that match like this and swap, so love to see it. Anyway, let's move on and let's get into the last trade here before we get into the meat of the show, Mike. The Michael Penix couple of trades we got. Curious your thoughts here. Now, this is a lineup start 9, okay?
Yep.
14 team, Superflex, full point PPR. and it's also a full point tight end premium. Teabaggers Dynasty. I'm personally of the mindset that there was a team that got teabagged in this trade, but it's a 25-second from Sky Chief, which, again, is not a part of the deal, so we got to pull the lab and all that sheesh from it. But it's Cade Stover, Mike, who I'll admit, coming out of high school or college there, I was excited, and then he goes to Houston after they just paid, like they gave a contract to Schultz, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, really?
Right.
And a second here for Najee, who, like, I get it. I think a lot of people are just very over Najee. He's not fun. He's inefficient, all this shit. But a 25-second in Cade Stover and Najee Harris. Mike, where are you at in this league?
Najee Harris.
Okay.
It's a 14 team. I don't know where that second's going to be, but at the best, it's going to be pick 15. At the very best.
Sure.
Could be much worse. In a class that we have a lot of questions about depth. Cade Stover does fucking nothing for me. It does. It's like roster clogger tight end.
I mean,
that a thing?
Well, yeah, of course it's a thing. I mean,
is that a thing? I don't give a shit. Like, why is this a piece at all? It's not like another running back on a 53. It's not a backup quarterback in this lineup league. 14-team superflex. Like, where's the path to upside with this guy? Mm-hmm. Dalton Schultz gets hurt. Brevin Jordan sucks really, really bad. And Cade Stover goes on to have a productive rookie year. What's the odds of that? Not very good.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing for me is that unless it's for market value, even it's a full tight end premium, Cade Stover isn't enough of the extra piece here. Like, I kind of understand if you're trying to get off of Najee in the down tier type mindset, like if the piece is not Cade Stover. But I guess to me that's the biggest problem is I just don't get that one personally. In 14 team,
I don't like it.
In 14 team, I just I don't really understand the.
Maybe Sky Chief's fucking terrible.
That's what I'm trying to find. Now, here's another interesting part. Teabaggers Dynasty is not the league. So there's 4 leagues that these two are in together, and I'm trying to find it. So just bear with me here on this, all right? We're looking.
Damn it.
Yeah, one of these leagues is a fucking Debbie league, which really would throw this for a fucking loop. It's not that one at least.
Don't look up Sky Chief's profile to try to find that either, because that fucking guy's in 309 leagues.
Not bad.
You could do a lot of searching. We'll be here all night.
Jesus. This is all right. I think I found it now. Okay. So it's the Not Daddy's Dynasty. All right.
Well, that's not a teabagger.
No. Now, Sky Chief Mike is 100%. This looks like 100% the 201, maybe 202. So there's that context to it. I would say there's a comment here from E-Will. Like, I just don't. Do you guys? I'm curious. Do you guys think this pairing from them in college matters when, like, Schultz has been really nice player and got paid again? So, that's my problem is I don't see a path to him. Even if Mike, let's say that it is Stroud's guy and he gets, if anything, it's a murky split tight end room now all of a sudden. Like, that to me isn't the greatest with all the other.
It's a murky tight end room, and what the tight end is also at least the 4th option. Yeah.
Now,
at least
for sure. Now, one thing I'm seeing here, it looks like I don't even know. It kind of looks like Action SJ's team has acquired a bunch of picks, so he's got a 25 first from somebody else. He does not have his own first, and he's got 3 seconds. So I think it's a team that has some youth and some contending pieces, probably going to try to win or contend at least, make the playoffs. Definitely, you would think here. He's got Cooper Kupp. He's got Ingram and Njoku, Amari Cooper, Austin Eckler, Jerome Ford. I don't know. So I feel like this team, personally, when I look at it, like I'm looking at ETN, Montgomery, Nick Chubb, Eckler, Jerome Ford. I would think a team like this could use Najee. I guess at the end of the day, if you're not going to play Najee or you don't view him as someone that's like a weekly start for you, I understand wanting to trade him. I just feel like you could have at least waited till he had a good week and maybe had a little more tradability than this one. That's my thing.
Don't get a better piece than Cade fucking Stover.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe
not a hard concept.
Maybe the most people in Dynasty are looking at Cade Stover differently than you and I are, Mike. But that's, I think, the biggest part of the deal that kills it for me. Like, I view Cade Stover as a taxi player that is a long investment, which reality is that position in this format still is not something that I want to make this low. Like, I don't want to care about Cade Stover or use him as an actual piece back in a deal when I know the reality is even if he pans out, it's not going to matter for my team. That's the problem.
You know how much I don't like Bucky Irving or Audric Estime, and that guy has both of them on the team. And if you told me this was an earlier second and one of those running backs for Najee Harris, I'm like, cool. Good
Sure.
move,
I'm with
process
you.
play.
Right.
Whatever. I don't give a I would do that. I don't know. Troy Franklin. I don't even fucking like Troy Franklin, right? The draft capital says fuck off. But, Jesus, I'd rather have that.
Sure.
Cade Stover. I don't know. Could he have picked a worse player on the team? Brendan Rice. There we go. I'll give you one. Fuck that. No Brendan Rice.
Yeah, I feel like though in this in this format, I think Cade Stover is going to probably need an injury to Dalton Schultz during the season, and then there could be some value where you can trade him for something you shouldn't have been able to. But I think that's the biggest piece of this deal that I struggle with. Anyway, Action SJ Mike is starting to become a. We're going to take a dump on his trade here on the show 2 weeks in a row. You know,
That's fair.
All right, Mike, let's get into him.
Quite a
Michael
bit.
Penix in Dynasty. So we got 2 trades in a row here with Penix. Can I tell you, dude, I did a breakdown on a long, in-depth breakdown about why I think he's one of the most interesting and better values in Dynasty because of this unique situation he's in back right after the draft. Now, everybody kind of, I think, listens to that and they agree with what we've talked about at length with Penix. But you know what's going to be very interesting to me is how people start to treat it right now and in August. And then the further this guy is not playing, it's amazing like the discipline just goes out the fucking window, doesn't it? Like if you draft, like I'm curious for you here, just before I even read the details of the trade, if you drafted Penix, why in the fuck am I trading him in July?
I don't know.
Like for me, he was I'm clearly stated, and I'm sure you have too. Like diamond hand, the wording of the cryptocurrency and diamond handing, like that is what I'm doing with Penix until he sees the field. So anyway, let's talk about it here. Slenmo is getting, I believe, a pretty nice deal here from Duckhammer. But what's your take on this trade? 12-team Superflex PPR. It is a 0.2 PPR, which changes things quite a bit, honestly. That's got to be points per carry because it's a full PPR, right? Yeah.
Must be.
Mike's been drinking and even he knows that. GDL 12, the Iron Throne, is the league name. Mike, so it's Penix. It's a 0.2 points per carry, right? So it's Penix and DJ Moore for HN and a second. Where are you at on this trade here? I know. I mean, we love HN too. There's that point as well.
I do love HN, but just keep it simple, man. HN or DJ Moore, who do you want? Toss up, I guess. I don't know. Which one do you want? I'm sure a lot of people probably favor DJ Moore. I think it's close enough. You could say either or, so I don't give a shit. I'll cancel both out, but then it makes the second part easy. Michael Penix or 25 second. I don't give a fuck what that is.
Right.
I do not give a shit because I guarantee you even at the 201 next year, you're probably not getting a quarterback who's drafted in the top 10 of the NFL draft that year. So, fuck off.
Yeah, I mean,
Michael Penix.
This trade, I think, comes down to, like, for Duckhammer, I think the way it pays out, Mike, is not anywhere. To your point, what Penix is going to be probably in a year from now. Let's even say that Kirk Cousins plays pretty well. They make the playoffs. He's going to be the starter again next year. Even then, Michael Penix will probably be worth more than 25 seconds straight up. Point is. But, like, that's not going to be the way you win the trade. The trade is going to have to be won by HN, like, staying healthy damn near all year and having 8 of those weeks where it's like, holy fuck, who is this monster, right?
Which
that
you
I think
could
is,
do in a point per carry, right?
for sure. That I think that's what's going to happen though. I feel like when you trade this, when you're making this trade, you're gonna. That's like I think on the range of outcome scale, you got to be towards that high end of the spectrum for HN the way he's playing for this to pay off in any way. I think personally.
Maybe he is convinced HN's there, like locked in, man. No risk, whatever.
Yeah.
Still, I don't. No. No. I'm not even the biggest DJ Moore guy. I'm probably like anti-DJ Moore this year more than anything. Not because I think he's a bad player or anything. It's just there's a lot of unknown with this quarterback change, offense coordinator change, bringing in Adunze and Keenan Allen. Like, there's a lot of shit going around where I can't just go, oh, this is how DJ Moore did last year. This is how he's going to do this year. Sorry, fantasy doesn't fucking work like that. Jesus. Like, even me being the like DJ Moore guy in a point per carry warped favors the running back league, I'm like, fucking close enough, I guess, between the two. Like, I'd probably prefer Achane, but I'd sure as fuck prefer Michael Penix to a 25-second. Easily. And Slim No's got a decent enough team. Like, it looks like it's playoff-ish, so
yeah,
it's not going to be the 201, 202. Sorry to break your heart.
Yeah, I'm looking here. Now, what's interesting, Duckhammer's team still, after making this trade, like, I get it. He still has 225 firsts, right? He's got 2 seconds as well, one of which is Slenmo's here. So he's got picks. His quarterback room, so he's got Burrow and Dak, and he does have Jake Browning. So the big thing would be, like, if Dak got hurt, this would be catastrophic. But if you could probably thread the needle, and this could work out. And with those picks, you're basically just, I think, like trading away what Penix probably can become and hoping that it's so far down the line that Achane makes up for it. I think that's the way you probably convince yourself to make this trade. So I kind of get it. But if I'm Slim Mo, I feel like it's one of these trades where right now I got T-Law and I have Patrick Mahomes as my quarterbacks. And I basically now, whenever Penix takes over, which is going to happen, but guaranteed, at that point, now you have a third quarterback value bump, which makes you just in such a different territory than almost anybody in the league, where you could trade away T-Law potentially, right? And that can get you a fucking haul at the right point. So, I don't know. I still personally want the DJ Moore and Penix side. I like Achane a lot. I just feel like I'm investing a little too much in Achane personally for this trade.
I think I'm just selling Michael Penix short for no fucking reason.
Right.
That's my biggest problem with it.
Yep, I'm with you. All right.
No reason to do it.
Let's see what the other Penix trade has to get to here.
Oh,
interesting.
We got 2 of them.
Interesting, yeah. Penix was usually the thumbnail, Mike, and here we go with this trade. Wow. 12-team Superflex. It's a full-point tight end premium. Lineup start 11, and this is shit lineup, Mike. Shit lineup is, What about a shit lineup league? Love this.
Yeah.
Matty Gomes, too. A couple guys we know. Big Corey making the trade show twice. He's got to be – the fact that we're talking about that other trade and then he's making the show again, he's got to be loving life right now.
He is. It's got to be. It's got to be.
So on this trade, he is taking the upside swings of J.J. McCarthy and Penix as well as Chris Olave, kind of rolling them all up in a ball. And here, I want Joe Burrow. Just go ahead and give me Joe Burrow, first-round starter pick right now. In a start 11 lineup league, Mike, are you making this consolidation or do you want the package?
I think I'm taking the package, even in a lineup. I think I am.
Okay.
It's a lot to pay for Joe Burrow, and I don't know if that's like one of the quarterbacks on my list where I go like, oh yeah, I'm definitely playing 3 first plus for him, no questions asked. Like I'm a Joe Burrow away. I just don't know if he brings the amount of juice that you want. He's very, very good. Very, very good at him. But I don't know. Maybe it's just me with all this research I've been doing over the last 6 months into where fantasy points come from quarterbacks that says he doesn't run like a lot of these other guys. So he's kind of always going to be perennially stuck in this QB 7 to 12 range more than likely. I don't know. I think I'd just take if my team was in a position like I don't know what Matt Gomes is. I haven't dived into the context of it yet, but I assume if I'm like kind of in the mid or lower part of the rankings, give me the 2 rookie quarterbacks and give me the wide receiver that I can then turn and sell for something else and get some more pieces on top and de-risk myself from one asset.
Yeah. I also see a couple points to make about this trade, right? So Big Corey is definitely one of the teams that's in a rebuild, retool mode, right? Redraft total towards the bottom here. Interesting part to me, though, is
Big Corey is?
Yeah, and so is Matty Gomes.
He's consolidated?
Yeah. So I think it's more of a purchase of like maybe you don't believe in JJ McCarthy or one of these pieces here really being a difference maker in this type of a league, and you're just like, let me just go get Joe Burrow now. I'm looking at it. I'm trying to make sense of that end. Now, the second part I was going to talk about is the warp in the league, right? So I don't know what your thoughts are here, Mike, with this, but it's kind of one of these leagues where you look the upper quadrant. So the top 5 to, let's call it even 8 quarterbacks, 2 type warp based on the last 5 years of warp data, multi-year warp. And then as you start to get to like quarterback 18 to quarterback 20 ranges, you're below the 1 line in warp. So I'm wondering if that's probably part of it too, is he thinks even when these guys get the job, they're not going to have a chance to get to top 12 range, and that's why he's making this consolidation move. I'm guessing the warp plays into it. If I was on the outside looking in, trying to project why you would make a tier up like this of this degree when you're probably in a retool type of a build, right? That's, I guess, why. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm just saying I think that would be the reason when I look at the warp on this league, because quarterback 20 to 24 is under 1 warp, where obviously the quarterback 1s and 5, 7 are over 2. So I guess that would be baked into it. I'm curious your thoughts with the warp involved.
With the warp involved, yes, you're right. I can kind of understand it, but it violates rule number 1 of me being in a rebuild. Never consolidate. Ever. Unless, sorry, I'll give you the caveat. If I can consolidate 3 shitters
right.
to 1 semi-good player.
Yeah,
sure.
there are definitely there's definitely like points even in a rebuild where I'm like, all right, this is too cheap, I'll consolidate. But
I'm not consolidating 3 young guys,
right?
You know, on the starting their ascension with dynasty value. Like that can still definitely all 3 go up massively, especially the quarterbacks. For 1, when
right.
I'm not ready to go at all. Like fuck, I'll worry about my quarterback situation in 2025 or 2026 when I'm ready to go. Not like trying to plan, I got 2 studs in 2024, but the rest of my team's dog shit. I don't get that logic at all.
Dynasty Alex, we don't have that trade, so otherwise I think we would have, or at least Blitz didn't pull it. I wouldn't mind taking a look at it. Maybe actually, you know what? We do have one more trade, so maybe it's the last one. Let's just see.
Maybe. Do we get
it
one?
Is not.
No.
Oh, by the way, this is a new patron, Jay Fishback. So, Mike, we got the war room here. All right, this is a 12-team Superflex. By the way, I'm with you. I think I get it with the warp involved. By the way, like I do get it. It's just.
Well, I can spoil you before we get to this one.
All right, here. Jay Fishback. We'll go back here. We'll come right back to you. All right,
pause.
Jay Fishback.
We'll just hit the pause button for a second.
Yeah. Attaboy. All right, let's do it.
He sold Olave and Addison for Puka Nacua and a 4th.
Ooh.
Why? Again, back to this one. Why the fuck are we consolidating 2 for 1s?
Damn. So now you're saying Matty Gomes has Penix, McCarthy, and Puka, right?
Penix, McCarthy, and Puka, yeah.
Yo.
But it cost him Olave and Addison. He sent Olave.
Oh, Olave and Addison. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. So, did great. We praised Matty.
I somehow I didn't hear the Addison part of that.
Go.
The 4th part was, I just heard a 4th. I'm like, Olave and a 4th got you to Puka? Really? But there's Addison, Olave, and a 4th. Okay.
So he sold Olave and Addison, got Puka and a 4th.
I will say the last point on this where I get it, like it's hard to acquire. It is very hard to acquire a Burrow asset, Mike, for 2 quarterbacks that are not going to play typically, right? So I get the standpoint of wanting to do it. Mike, if this is a lineup start 9 league, I think I could probably convince myself that it's a go against the grain type of a trade that I just get that piece now. Start 11 is right on that teetering line where, dude, you make 3 for 1s too often in a lineup start 11, and all of a sudden when you go to start your team, it's like, fuck, man, I got Alexander Madison and Ty Chandler and fucking Dylan Labe.
I'm sad
like,
here
shit.
too.
Shit.
I'm looking at, so just some context for people, the Trade Show channel is always kind of funny, right? It always is. So
of course.
I found that one, Adam, but just to give a little, I mean, we're doing it live, so fuck it, it's our show. We give people a lot of shit sometimes on their trades, and if you remember, a couple weeks back, we roasted somebody for their Garrett Wilson and a 1st for Marvin Harrison trade.
Yeah.
A certain someone.
I know. Changed his name, by the way. I like that.
Right, he can't run and hide from us.
We'll get.
But
Don't spoil it too much. I think we're gonna have that trade pulled for next week's show. But give a little like a teaser, you know.
Yeah, well, they put in the trade show chat after getting roasted the last episode. Then they put another trade in. So, you know, me being the savvy gift person I am, I did find a gift that says how to prepare a roast. So, just foreshadowing what's going to happen when that trade actually gets fucking put on the channel.
I like that part in the Discord where you put that GIF in there, and then I was kind of curious to see if no one put emojis on it, so we'll make sure the roast is a little more tender by next week. You know, we have a little more time to let it marinate. All right.
Oh, the Trade Show channel. I love it.
Gotta fucking love it. All right, let's get back to the final trade of the show today.
New member.
By the way, again, Mike, let's, patreon.com/South Harmon if you want to have your deals featured on the show. Mike, here's the trade, all right? Jalen Hurts and Derrick Henry are being acquired for 25 and 26 first of your own. Jaden Reed, Zach Charbonnet, and Justin Fields. Lineup start 11 again. Where are you at on this trade?
Jesus fuck. I love the new patrons come in and just flex. I love it. Like before, you
body
can
bag types, right?
We get some new patrons in, they come in and flex, and then at some point, somebody in their league becomes aware and wise, and then the trades become a little bit more even, or they might take an L and we roast them like we do Big Corey.
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
Of course.
I love when you get the fresh ones in. They just come in, they're like, poof, poof, body bagging this. This is fucking stupid.
They come in and just it's like
Hurts.
they kind of just whip it down, right? Just bam, here it is. Big dick in people.
Other than the two first, as far as players are concerned, Derrick Henry and Jalen Hurts are the two best in this deal. Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, I mean, you can make the case for dynasty value that Reed and Henry are close, but I'm with you where of the pieces right now, given what I'm thinking about trying to do for my team in the next month or two, it's Jalen Hurts and Derrick Henry. I'm with you.
I'm not lying to you. In a lineup start 11, I would trade everything that went on the right side. Fields, Sharps, Jaden Reed, my two first.
For just Hurts,
as long as it wasn't like the last fucking deal of stupid consolidation when my team's dog shit. Okay,
sure. Well, I was going to say the only way this would burn you, I think that's the only way this can burn you, is if you tell me, even then I don't even know if I'd call it being burned, but you just don't really win out that much, right? I think it's if you all of a sudden are the worst team, or these would have to be two top 3 picks, and then like as we're getting ready to have the 2026 draft, maybe you look back and like, maybe that wasn't the best trade. But even then, there's a chance where Jalen Hurts is still not necessarily that far away from being worth that. If they were early, I don't think you would want to make that trade. It's the only difference. So let's take a look on the lab, by the way. Let's see what we got.
Context, by the way. Jay Fishback, #1 team in the league. I see why, because he finds suckers like this. But
by the way, there's an error on here. This is a 10-team league for the record, just to make other people aware. So like that, to me, is while the scarcity's not that high, so the Jalen Hurts types are immensely valuable because you want to have the hammers in that league, right?
Jalen Hurts, Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Tank Dell, Trey McBride, T.J. Hawkinson, Kyler Murray.
Good night. And Deshaun Watson, quarterback 3.
Deshaun Watson, QB3. Yep. It is a 10-team league, so you have to put that into context. But in a 10-team league, Adam, quarterbacks don't matter as much unless they're the elite guys, and then they still provide a pretty goddamn good, significant value over the rest of them. So
right, like in a 10-team league, for instance, when we go back to, it's funny, going back just to give you the context here. If this league's a 10-team league, Mike, I can get behind the Burrow side a little bit more, right? Because it's more important to have the hammers than guys in the middle. But at this trade here, Mike, first of all, this is 12-team or 10. I don't care. I want the Hurts side of this deal. But the only thing about Jay Fishback's team is that he doesn't have a single first until they re-put picks in here. They're all gone, right? But like
every single one of them.
But
fuck them.
But in a 10-team like that, I kind of a little bit can understand it. Just here, I'm gonna get a goon squad roster, and then if variance happens, it happens. Because in 10-team, you're not going to win with a mediocre team in the 10-team league. All these teams are going to be high-end players, right? And that's the way the 10-team works. Mike, you got Jalen Hurts, Jefferson, and Chase, Trey McBride, Kyler Murray. Like, you have enough high-end player talent to make this trade pretty easily. Mike, think about it in a 10-team league now, the players, for instance, okay? Charbonnet in a 12-team league is a guy I'm just fucking here. Like, almost I'm willing to sacrifice him, whatever dynasty value he has, in a 12-team. In a 10-team, I could give an absolute fuck. Justin Fields, I kind of get it. Like, he's maybe a joker card where he could end up being a nice player if he starts, but, like, even in a 10-team here, Jaden Reed, I don't know that I really want to be starting him, frankly. And also, this is not start 11. This is start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
Shallow.
9. Start 9. So, sorry about the context here. This is a 10-team start 9. Easily Hurts and Henry.
Stupid good. I was pulling up the warp on it, too, just so I could have a visual of how much those elite quarterbacks still matter.
Oh, no. How bad do we looking at here?
So, a multi-year warp, I mean, we're looking at, come on, let's go. The hamsters, we got to feed the hamsters. I forgot today.
The hamsters they're not feeling it tonight, you know?
They are not feeling it tonight. The top 2 quarterbacks finish within the top 6 overall of warp.
Exactly.
So they still matter.
Right.
Top 3 quarterbacks are in the top 10. So, yes.
Right, like, that's the biggest. In 10-team, going the quarterback horde route, which is something that most people don't want to do anyway in a 12-team. But, like, in a 10-team, it's a bad thing to do unless you're talking about the elite guys because no one gives a fuck about the middling ones. But the high-end quarterbacks still, Mike, can win you leagues. They can win you weeks and win you leagues. So Jalen Hurts absolutely fits the bill here for me in this format.
You know what doesn't really move the needle?
Charbonnet.
Wide receiver.
Jaden
Wide
Reed.
receiver 2 types.
Right.
Yeah. Wide receiver 3 types, like Jaden Reed possibly.
I mean, if Jaden Reed ends up, Mike, becoming the guy that isn't actually only on the slot, and they start moving him into the outside, and he's playing 90+% of snaps, and he's a top – he'd have to be – based on this warp line, he's got to be a top 12 receiver, though. Probably more like top 10, honestly. Like, it starts to really flatten out. For the record, wide receiver 12 in warp is 1.23, and wide receiver 24 is also at 1. So, realistically, he's got to become a top 10 receiver to really hit that difference-making type of production.
And just 1-for-1 on Jalen Hurts if they wanted to match the warp of even in a 10-team superflex where quarterbacks are a little bit more devalued. If I say Jalen Hurts is on average QB3, which is probably false because he's usually 1 or 2, but if I just say QB3, you got to have a top 3 wide receiver or better to even come close. Like in reality, you really need the number 1 or 2 guy in that league. So I don't think Jaden Reed's a real threat for top 3 wide receiver finish. It might be a hot take, Adam. I might be spitting hot takes here about Jaden Reed. Sorry.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing him be a top. I'm 100% with you. I wouldn't mind seeing it happen because I always love when the outliers that no one can see coming comes to fruition and then people tell us that we're idiots. I would love to. It would be kind of amazing if Jaden Reed finished that well. I think he's talented enough to be a top 12 receiver. I don't think the usage is there. And top 3, Mike, is just not anywhere near the range of outcomes that I project reasonably, right? Like, it just doesn't exist for me. This is the beauty of a live trade show. Love as well. You can just throw in follow-up trades. Sure.
Trade show.
I love Lamp.
Dynasty Alex was just saying he loves the trade show.
Exactly.
Sometimes you gotta translate for Dynasty Alex. It's fine though.
For sure. And also, whether it's live or pre-recorded, you want to join in, patreon.com/South Harmon. $5 a month gets you in the door where you can come, big dick the trade show. Come put it in the Completed Trades channel like Jay Fishback did. Jalen Hurts and Derrick Henry, Mike, for, a little bit of crumbs, and here's some future picks. So, here, it's yours.
Man just said big dick and put it into the same sentence. You're a true beaut.
Of course. Big dick, put it in.
True beaut.
Big dick, put it in. I think that's about close to time. What do you think of the trade show today, Mike?
Hear that? That's YouTube, Colin. Thanks, YouTube. Appreciate it. It was a good one. I was apprehensive, Adam, because I'm like, God, we're riding the struggle bus today. with all this day drinking. But you know what? I got my second wind. I'm going to polish this water off, and then, you know what? I'm back. Coming back. We'll pour up again.
What I was gonna
tonight I'm strong. Fuck y'all.
It's funny. I was texting Mike last night because I was happening to get my wife's school all cleaned up, her schoolroom, not teaching next year. A bunch of stuff coming up next week, like a baby. So, like, we didn't get the trade show in pre-recorded. Let's make sure we do it live. You know, like a baby.
It just throws it in like
loosely. You know,
no biggie.
Yeah. So I'm like, we got to get the trade show in. though. You want to do it live? I was like, my best window's 1 to 3. When he said he's going to be out, I'm like, okay, we'll do the evening, obviously, but I had a feeling you'd be coming in a little tipsy, and you didn't let down. So
good.
You also didn't slur. I was curious how bad it would be. You did pretty well. Got to be proud of yourself.
We in that headache stage, you know, when you day drink.
Yeah.
And then you got the calm down.
You're having a real-time hangover that normally takes place during, like, your sleep. It's happening while you're awake. But instead of having that Gaba rebound, you just go ahead and pour up again. I love that. Let's do it.
Just bite the dog that bit me, man.
I love that.
Same day, though. Fuck you, dog.
I love that. We will be back here, same time, same place next week. I don't know if it's going to be 9:30. It might be a different time. Probably be pre-recorded. I may not be on. Mike may be having a guest on, which may or may not be a guest. We got something coming pretty soon for you here. But
that's right.
We love you guys. We'll see you back here, same time, same place for the Dynasty Trade Show. We're out of this thing. Peace.
Peace.